Hello there, everyone. My name is Waba, and what you're about to watch is Mental Health Monday. It's a podcast that I do every single week live on Twitch, link in the description below. We talk with 1 to 2 guests, sometimes 3, on a topic of the month, and purely I'm just asking them about their experience with this topic. Either they have personally gone through this or they have dealt with it in some manner in a personal way. The purpose of these talks is to bring education to others and to bring awareness to these issues, and that mental health is real, mental health matters, it's okay to not be okay, and more to the point, it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to reach out for help. There's a lot that goes into Mental Health Monday. It's very intentional, and we have a bit of a check-in usually before the talks. In addition, I myself am trained as a mental health counselor. I have a master's in mental health counseling. Now, I never, ever, ever will claim that I am anyone's therapist online. I'm a mental health advocate, and I will share resources to the day I die. But as far as help goes, I highly encourage anyone out there to seek your own help. I have resources both on my Twitch page, but also in my Discord under resources, and highly encourage anyone to seek professional help if you are struggling with something that the people on my podcast are talking about with their experiences. In addition, they're raw, uncut, and unscripted. I usually have a few questions to kind of structure it a little bit, but we might go off the rails sometimes, have some casual conversations. Other questions might be asked, delving into details. All things considered, I put a content warning out there at the beginning of my talks usually, right before we jump into them. And it's just to say, hey, show some respect, towards the guests and their stories, first of all, obviously. But more importantly, if a topic comes up that might be potentially triggering, feel free to click off the video, feel free, to click off the stream, during the stream, or mute the tab, whatever, come back when you feel comfortable. I don't wish to trigger anyone, but I want these talks to be as unrestricted as possible so that folks can tell their story in their best words. Your discretion is advised, depending on the nature of the subject. So with that out of the way, I just want to welcome you into this video. Feel free to skip ahead as well. I'll put a timestamp in the description. And with that, enjoy Mental Health Monday and welcome into the Waba fam, your mental health talk place and queer safe space. Take care. Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh, this is awkward. Where the fuck is Turn's face? Oh no. Oh no. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. I never changed this. Fuck me. Oh, this is funny. This is funny. There it is. Sorry. I'm dying. I got so fucking red.
I was like, okay, sure, why not?
I'm sorry.
How dare you?
That was.
I think we're all scarred for life, thanks
sorry.
to you.
Oh, fuck. Dang it, dude.
Magneto way.
Oh, God fucking damn it. Sorry, Turn. Your face shall be used one more time.
What a superstar.
Right. That's from our Dragon Quest playthroughs, and also from the Mental Health Monday poster from last week when we talked to Turn. I just blew his face up real big.
As it should be.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was on this scene. I thought it was another scene. But, oops. Forgot to check that before stream. So, hi. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Hello, my friend. Since, forever.
Yes. Forever and ever and ever.
ever. Mental Health Monday, grief. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today.
Boy, do I have a lot of that.
Yeah.
It
all started when you were born in a log cabin.
I mean, basically, it all started when I was...
Kind of did, didn't it?
Yeah, because my mom left when I was 6 months old, so that's like... You know, that really set me up for a really great, solid mental foundation right there.
Oh, good supportive. Put on music here. There we go. So tell me about that. Tell me about, like, your feelings about, like, your mom and stuff and that whole thing.
I mean, like, on most levels, I don't really blame her for what she did. She struggled with a lot of, and still struggles with a lot of severe mental health issues. I'm pretty sure she also, if not CPTSD, has some kind of PTSD. She spent time in the foster care system. My maternal grandfather was an alcoholic. The family still stands that he wasn't really abusive. I think he probably was, just not as overtly as you normally would hear in those situations. Like,
right.
Just probably more of like the emotional neglect type abuse and not the physical yelling, screaming, throwing things. But I don't know. I wasn't there.
Right. Can I ask an odd question?
Sure.
Have you ever grieved for your mother?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
Because she's still alive as far as you know.
Yes, and I have her friended on Steam. I could text her right now if I wanted.
Oh, wild.
Reconnecting with a parent like that as an adult is just, it's interesting. But
imagine it'd be so weird. So strange.
It's like a grieving process for a childhood that you never got. More so than the grief over a particular person, because I never really knew her either.
Right.
I met her once when I was in middle school and then reconnected with her recently as an adult. So, especially in moments where, like, my dad's abuse was pretty bad at some points, I would just sit there and I would cry because I would just be like, why don't I have a mother? I wish I had a mother. I wish I had somebody else that was here instead of just me having to deal with all of it. So
that makes sense.
Yep.
So you can just go off wherever you want to go off to, as far as storytelling goes.
Story time, kids. Okay. I guess I may as well coast into the next major loss trauma.
Sure. Take us through the years.
Well, if chronologically it wouldn't really be the next major one, but I guess the other major one for me was the loss of my father himself.
Yeah.
He passed away from pancreatic cancer in 2016, spring of 2016, and that was a rough year for me, because not only was our relationship actually getting better, and he actually apologized for a lot of the abuse they put me through.
Wild.
He didn't accept me as trans at first, and then before his death, he accepted and embraced that. I still have he got me one of those novelty New York license plate placards that said, my name on it, Alex. It's just like small gestures like that. It was very nice, and so that like really threw me for a loop, because because I spent so much of my life, like the first half of it was neglect, which wasn't really his fault because he was a single father trying to support a child, a neurodivergent child at that, and I had a lot of issues. And then it was out and out abuse, emotional. For the most part, there was some physical intimidation at some points, throwing things.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it. Growing up, honestly, and I experienced, but I didn't experience.
Yeah, you experienced.
I think I did actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it, and I was just like, "Why the fuck does he treat you like that?"
Yeah. Oh, it's just. I remember. I actually remember that pretty not vividly, but I remember exactly what happened.
What happened?
Basically, I was trying to share some leftover food with you because we were both hungry, and then he flipped out.
I do remember that. Yeah, he flipped out, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
And I'm like, "Okay."
I was like, "Bro, like we can just like go and get some different food or something." Like,
yeah, like it did not have to be. Like I know why he did it. Doesn't mean it. It does not make it okay at all. That was so bad.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, and you were like terrified of coming over after that.
I mean, I was terrified of him anyway because he just seems so recluse. Like he was just like always sitting at his computer. I don't know. Like my perception of your dad was just like grump in the computer and just like in his own world, doing God knows what.
Yep, that was basically that. That was my experience of him the majority of my like life, but more so in middle school and high school. Yeah. Because that's when he quit his job and tried to focus on his startup business and got screwed over by many people, including the U.S. government. I'm dead serious. It's a wild story. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the grief aspect, but crazy stuff.
It's a bonus to friends in the Discord. How about that?
Yeah. I can tell you the ocean tech drama at some other point.
Hello, Kitty.
You cannot have Reese's. Anyway, so he passed away. When he passed away, there was a lot of reconciliation, obviously. So it felt like I just got my dad back. And then the universe was like...
Slurp. Nope.
Oh, sorry, Dad?
You don't get a
You don't get that. You don't get that. You don't get parents. No parents for you.
Parents would be too good for you.
At that time, I was pressured as well into a highly emotionally and sexually abusive relationship. And I had fallen back onto a lot of my toxic tendencies. I broke up with that person by the end of the summer months, but between the death of my dad and entering the relationship with this person, I was so dissociated, and she took full advantage of that. I was so dissociated that I couldn't function. I couldn't function at all. I couldn't think straight. I was in no state of mind to actually make any consented choices.
That's so fucked.
Normally, I wouldn't be so blasé about the details, but I feel like it's important in this space to be as transparent.
Yeah, you're okay here. I've told my guests before they can be a lot more detail oriented.
So, but in fairness, the trigger warning specifically I would attach to this story is that this involved an unbalanced power dynamic and an age gap. But basically, this girlfriend that I had was 16, and she, emotionally manipulated me into saying yes and consenting to a relationship, which I did not want to get into. And normally, that sounds really dubious, me being 20 going on 21.
That's super yikes.
But I had nothing. I lost my dad. I didn't have a good support friend group. The friend group that I got involved in was her friend group. She had more economic and social power in that situation, which is rare, very rare for those circumstances.
Yeah, it's
but
wild.
Between, my dissociated state and the fact that she had this power over me, I felt like I had to say yes. I tried to keep it asexual because I didn't even want to be in the relationship, but I did not want to cross any boundaries. She tried to force me into doing sexual things. She even took so far as to, when I tried to place down boundaries about my comfort around sexual activities, what I would consent to and what I felt comfortable with, she would push it there too. No, I'm going to do this to you. If we had met up in person, I'm going to do this thing to you, even though you say you're not comfortable with it.
This is ick on like 17 different levels.
Oh yeah, that relationship messed me up so bad because of how backwards it was. And a lot of, and it's understandable, and I'm not saying that it's not necessarily okay to say it, but of course, it happened to be that this was in the rise of that like fandom discourse and discourse around age gaps and relationships, and like people being like, if you're 21 and you're dating somebody who's 17, you're a pedophile. And that made me internalize so much shame and guilt for something I honestly didn't have control over at the time. As soon as I was able to get back on my feet, as soon as I was able to get into college and away from that space that I was in a constant triggered, dissociated state, I ended the relationship. I was able to block her and walk away.
Good on you.
So, and this background is very important because we wound up reconnecting about 1.5 years later, something like that. Because she actually turned 17 shortly after we started dating.
Okay.
So she was 18 when we reconnected.
Right.
And she was really trying to heal and be better as a person. She realized that she abused a lot of people. I was far from the only person that she had coerced in this way.
Right.
I mean, she was pretty ruthless, and she was making a lot of efforts, and all the interactions that I had with her one-on-one went really well. I myself wasn't really in a state where I could fully embrace that friendship. And this all kind of escalated to a point where there was a little bit of server drama. She got kicked from a group that I was in. I meant to reach out and check in with her. Kept hesitating. Then about a month after, I get a message from a friend. You know, do you want to talk about this person and what happened? And I'm like, what's up? What happened? And she was like, you didn't know? She killed herself. And I'm like, excuse me? Yeah. So,
boom.
That was quite the ending to that saga, I'll tell you that.
Right. Yeah.
Anxiety smiling, but
no, I know, because I'm like, I knew the ending too, because you've told me this story before. But to tell it here, thank you for sharing, because it's, I mean, honestly, there's so much. I mean, obviously the power dynamic, you know, usually 16 going on 17, you know, still kind of pretty ick, you know, 17, 20-year-old, but like, it's not as bad kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it was still bad. It was just reversed.
It was just reversed.
It should have never happened.
Dynamic. Yeah, because usually you hear stories of like the 20-something-year-old, you know, taking advantage of 14, 15, 16-year-old girls, right? But other way around. She was the manipulator.
Yep.
And then when you try to reconnect after being abused and disconnected for 1.5 years, it's just like poof. Nope.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of time to actually sit with my feelings the way I needed to and process everything. And she not only robbed everybody around her the chance of continuing by her side in her healing journey, but also just robbed herself.
Yeah.
The one good outcome is that was the moment that I promised I would never, ever kill myself, basically. I couldn't. I promised myself no matter how bad I felt, I wouldn't put anybody through that, because over like 150 people showed up at our online service, and this was somebody who's done a lot of harm to a lot of people.
Right.
And that many people still showed up, and it really made me think. It's like you can't really ever know how many people that are in your life that would feel impacted enough, you know?
How many lives have you touched in your life, kind of thing.
And like, who am I to do this level of damage because I feel hurt to people?
Right.
So
it's definitely wild to think about.
Yep.
Have you ever like felt those feels and processed it? Have you taken that time?
About the relationship
about her.
I've been trying bit by bit to digest everything. You know, coming to realize that it really wasn't my fault. I don't care how old I was at that point. I was taken advantage of.
Right.
I was put in a situation that I did not want to be put in. I wanted to be the responsible adult, but I was physically and mentally unable to.
Yeah.
Because the dissociation was so bad. I mean, that whole summer was just one big massive blur. I would wake up and I would just feel immediately disconnected severely from everything. I hardly knew what was even happening half the time. It was like complete shutdown, basically. And like I felt like it was very important to share as well because, like, I mean, I know that you know an IRL friend who was in a similar-ish situation, taken advantage of by someone who was younger than her, who wound up having more socioeconomic power, using that to abuse her, and as soon as he got what he wanted, threw her in the garbage, smeared her name all over the school.
I'm really trying to think of who you're talking about right now, because there's at least a few people that could fit that description, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, details we can DM about, but the point is, like, that it's crazy how occasionally situations like that will happen. That being said, obviously, if you know a couple of people not super well, but in a situation where there's an age gap, it's 100% valid and okay to be very weary of the older person, particularly.
Yeah, absolutely, because, you know, more times than not, the power dynamic is the older person's going to be looked up to, thereby believed more, thereby it's easier to manipulate younger folks in that kind of power dynamic.
Yep.
I think about power dynamics, actually, kind of a lot, because you have a bit of a power dynamic as a streamer, because viewers kind of, like, see you as some sort of, like, expert, or, like, you know, they think that they know you, and then you get parasocials, you know. And that's why I just try to be very transparent with folks here, and be very realistic about the kind of relationships that I could engage in. Which is to say, like, you know, this is a snapshot of who I am, and I have a lot of different emotions and a lot of different, you know, modes of being. But obviously I exist outside the bubble that is my, you know, 20 hours of Twitch streaming, whatever it is. It's more than that, but, you know. Whatever 15 plus 8 is. 23. There we go. Good brain. Yeah, my 23 hours a week of streaming. You know, I exist much more outside of that, and I'm more than happy to let people in on my life for the most part, but there's going to be some stuff that I'll keep private for the sake of other people's, you know, privacy, Frankie's especially. Yeah. Shit. So
I know, where to begin?
right. It's like, where do we begin, where do we end? So your dad kind of triggered everything. Death of your dad in 2016, right? Just triggered everything, and then that was the relationship. And now, 5 years later, here you are.
Yep.
And
here I am.
I mean, I won't bring that up. But did you ever process your dad's death, like, ever?
I mean, I feel like I at least started the process. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to process fully these types of deaths. In some ways, there are parts of you that will never fully comprehend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because obviously, like, my dad dying kickstarted so many different things in my life, both good and bad. I literally wouldn't be as independent as I am right now if he had stayed alive.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those complicated life events that fundamentally changes almost everything. Or can, rather. Because I didn't have a mom. I didn't have grandparents.
Right.
My aunt and my uncle that I grew up with, both terrible people.
Yes,
and they're basically dead to me. My non-blood relative aunt, I love her a lot, for sure, but I feel very estranged from that relationship because I didn't really grow up with it, you know? And I feel kind of bad about that, but you can't force familial bond.
No, you can't. It's funny you say that, because I just remembered that my Aunt Patty, was my dad's sister, texted me the other day saying, "Merry Christmas," and dead name Frankie and misspelled it again.
That's great.
Yeah. Love to see
That's
it.
great.
Great.
Yeah. So, but I've definitely sat with it a lot. My 26th birthday, I had like a week-long breakdown, which I actually realized part of it was triggered by outside events relating to the relationship that I had been in at that time. But
right.
a major part of it was also kind of this existential crisis, not in that I'm getting older and I'm approaching death,
Right.
but that other people in my life who were close to me, my grandma, my dad, you know, my ex-girlfriend, are all gone. They were not alive to see me graduate college. They weren't alive to see me reach adulthood, stop being a young adult,
so to speak. Right.
So to speak, you know. And it was really hard. I cried a lot.
Where do you feel like you are now? Just, I guess I mean this in a very nebulous, like, where do you think you are in life and processing these things?
I think I'm in a really tentative place.
Yeah.
I happened today to spot a job I think might be feasible for me, but I was actually strongly considering getting on disability for my CPTSD, because my most recent relationship was a really bad breakup, as you know, and I've come to realize that he was really, really toxic for me, even though I was also extremely toxic towards him, which I fully own. And I'm kind of in this grieving process for that relationship. I'm figuring out, you know, where does the trauma bond begin and end, and where does an actual bond begin and end? Was there even an actual bond to begin with? Is there anything, if I met him a year from now, could we be friends? That kind of stuff. I'm just figuring out this, like, attachment. So, God, and here's the thing about CPTSD, and I know people in chat could probably attest, as probably you as well. There are often times, unfortunately, where you'll just encounter a lot of grief, a lot of re-traumatizing things. I feel like I've been in a near constant state of grief for quite some time. I'm just hoping I've really resolved, if nothing else, to just try and heal, and, like, I'm not going to get into any relationships until I actually feel like I've properly mourned and taken space for myself. And that goes kind of all the way back, you know?
Yeah. I totally fucking get that, and I just want to say, like, as your friend, like, I'm insanely proud of you. And it's hard. It's a hard fucking journey to try to be better and get better. And, you know, you're not in it alone, you know?
Yeah.
I do have this community set up, you know?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I had this like breakdown over Christmas weekend, but I'm feeling better now. I went out and I got my medication refilled, and I did productive things.
Hell yeah, let's go.
So, getting back on track.
It's amazing. We love to see it.
Love to see it. And thank you, of course, for having this space, but also just for being my friend for all these years.
Of course. I feel bad because I'm trying to think, what was I doing in 2016?
We weren't that close then. There was a couple of years.
We've dipped back and forth.
Yeah, which is normal.
It's normal and natural because we just had stuff going on. I think 2016 was...
Were you Drexel still?
No, surely not. No. It's about to be 7 years with Frankie. End of
70?
January. So 7 years from 2022 is 2015. So I was probably either finishing up my undergrad or I was applying. Yeah, I don't know how long my undergrad took. Man, I don't know.
That would make sense, though.
I feel like I was in the middle of my undergrad, and this might have been the summer where I was back home, question mark.
Maybe. Facebook would have the answers.
Yeah, Facebook. No, I was not. I was definitely here. Oh, you know what I was? I was dealing with... I don't know. Facebook would have the answers. Surely. Yeah,
probably
no, I got
dealing
together
with something or the
in
other.
2015. And then 2016, I was probably in the middle of classes and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty busy. I don't know. Probably something happened. Or we just, like, changed apartments. Yeah, that would make sense, actually. I was probably dealing with my apartment situation.
When was that marriage? That was 2018?
What marriage?
You know, the one where I went... Yeah, it was 2019.
Oh, with Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, that was 2019?
That was 2019, apparently.
Fuck.
I still have I'm not going to show them because people, but
yeah, because
I have the
names. Yeah, I have it on my fridge as well.
Put that back where it belongs in a moment.
Yeah.
I don't know how that ugly stain got on the back of it. Please ignore it.
Oh, it's okay.
Probably just like some rust or something.
Hi, Ribbon. Welcome in. Also, hi.
Hello.
I don't know who this is, but Gene Pool? I don't know. Hello. Feel free to chat with us. We don't bite hard.
I don't.
Are you from the Deadpool family, possibly? That's what I'm guessing. But yeah, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
What was grieving like for you? Just mostly crying and dissociation, or?
It's kind of a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Especially since like the circumstances for each loss have been so different, and the different types of losses that I've been through. Right. You know, not just death, but also in regard to relationships. A lot of anger, a lot of frustration,
absolutely,
tears, sadness, right. Definitely some dissociation. It's just, you know, you move through the process, and it's a non-linear thing. Sometimes I would feel okay, and then I wouldn't be again. It's just, you know, it can be a really long process. And like the weird thing about, especially like when you dissociate a lot, is that as you do start processing things, it's almost like you wake up one day and you realize that it's gotten better somehow. I mean, obviously, you know, you put the work in. It's not like it's a magical thing where I'm just going to dissociate into oblivion and then like hope in a month I'll wake up and feel better. But it's like, it's one of those things where I feel like the healing process can often feel like you're running in jello. And it feels like you're not getting anywhere. But then one day you wake up and you look back and you realize that you actually have gone somewhere. If that makes sense.
That does kind of make sense. Because, like, even though you've gone nowhere, you've still gone somewhere because you've gone on an emotional journey, you know?
Yeah, well, it's like one of those things where it's like the changes that you make every single day are subtle. So you don't really notice them until it becomes noticeable. Mm-hmm. Almost like a, maybe weird analogy, but almost like HRT. Like,
yeah.
Oftentimes when somebody starts that process, to them, it might seem like they're not experiencing any changes. And then they see somebody they haven't seen for like months or a year, and they're like, oh my God, you're so different. And there's that moment of like, actually, I am different. It has made a difference.
Yeah. If you look back at like your old selfies and photos for for instance, oh my god, I can't pronounce words. You know, that is, it's a way to like just like see your progress, you know. Look back on yourself. I kind of do that as well. Like I look back on like old like content I used to do and just be like, have I changed? And it's like, yeah, I have. And I think it's been in a more positive direction.
Oh yeah, I've done the same thing. I have buried the only journal entries I haven't fully recovered have been from MySpace. But I have journal entries dating back. Yeah, I have journal entries dating back to when I was like 13, 14. I have it all archived. And there have been a couple of times where I would look back on them, reread some, and be like, holy crap. Things have changed. And I think for the better. Yeah, I'm normally pretty terrible. I like go through these phases of journaling. I've also, in that archive, I have entries from like when I ran a vent blog. I copy and pasted it before I nuked it off the internet. Well, I can't really erase it from the internet, but you know what I mean.
I get that. I understand that. Sorry, I've been like split my attention here from like
no worries.
Blog bullshit.
You are all good.
Someone joined our Discord, answered yes, 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 short answers to all the intro screening, and then left all within 3 minutes. Fucking speed run. No one kicked them unless someone did.
I haven't done anything.
I don't think so. I think Jeffrey would tell me if they kick someone, but no. I was just like, did you just like speed run? Try to speed run my Discord? It's not gonna happen. Anyway.
Does anybody want a 30-second cat break?
Well, you need like a 2-minute cat break because I need to go to the bathroom and I need to run an ad.
All right.
So this is a paid advertisement cat break.
Where's
oh,
Monty? There he is. This is Monty.
Baby. How's he been getting on?
He's been getting on really well. He's really balanced out the other cats, which is exactly what I thought would happen. He's a little brat and he likes to whine.
Gotta get the fat. I mean, honestly, you could probably speedrun getting into my Discord if you have like, if you type up like genuinely really good answers. You could do it. But this person was like, no, you didn't let me in. I said yes. I'm out. Leaving. Yeah, I don't know who they were. I kind of want to message them, but I'm not going to.
It's so common for Discord culture. If you're not let in like immediately, they're just like, oh, well, this is a waste of my time.
Is it?
Because what I found is that a lot of people tend to hoard servers, and I feel like a lot of people get to a point where it's just like they have this terrible system, like an almost like internal vetting process of, if they don't let me in within a certain period of time, it means that they're not active enough or whatever, so I'm better off just bouncing. Which
that doesn't make any sense because they fucking end up lurking in a Discord for like years.
Right?
And not saying a word.
Right?
Like, I'm about to like do like a sweep of our Discord actually. Because I'm like, no one is fucking active.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, there's not many active members, and that's fine. I don't mind people lurking, but like there's some other members in there that I'm just like, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen you ever. Like, are you real?
From a mod standpoint, we could implement an inactivity role so that way we're not kicking them, but it would limit their channel access basically to like a couple channels, and if they come back in, then they're like, oh, I've been tagged inactive. They can just at the mods in that channel and be like, hey, can I? Yeah.
Okay, so the way my Discord works, and I think you know this because I set this up, is that when you first join, you just get the @everyone role, obviously, right? So you have no roles, right? So you can only see the welcome, the intro screening, and I think, the Welcome to the Waba Fam channel, and that's it. That's all you can see. You can't see anything else. And then you get Waba Fam link, you can see everything. So
yeah.
People
So
do
they
speedrun bans. It's really weird. They like, try to get the fast time of getting banned from streams or discords or whatever. I've seen that before. But like, honestly, if you want to just speedrun getting banned from my Discord, just say the N-word. Easy. Me6 will auto kick you.
Yep.
Like, you really want to guide? All right, I'll be right back. I go bathroom and run ad.
Okay. Everybody
Keep
can behold Monty and his purring. Yeah. Inactivity roles mostly serve a purpose for servers where there might be privacy concerns, where it's like, oh, you know, sometimes people share information that they don't want screenshotted. Thank you, he's... I do like lurker roles as well, and that can be something that, from a mod standpoint, we can discuss. Because, like, I don't think anybody really minds lurkers. It's just there's a point where, like, the Discord gets... I think Waba Fam is literally, like, over 100 members at this point. I see the same, like, 5 to 10 people post all the time. And it's like, okay, realistically, how many people are here are actually lurkers, or... Petit new. Yeah, you're one of the 10. Welcome. Life is cringe. Honestly, it is, though. Let's be realistic. I don't know, bro. Kind of cringe. Monty, you're so hairy. I have hairy cats. You want brushies? Yeah. I have the floof. I have the power. I think Monty stepped on my cord and it got taken out. I have no idea how long my mic's been off. You gotta love it. I was... I'm sorry. I was literally in the middle of trying to tell everybody how I got Monty, and then I looked down and my mic had been crackling. And I was like, is it even working? So, yeah, so Monty I acquired because my previous ex-boyfriend, not my most recent one, had him as a cat. And he's not a bad person, but he kind of neglected Monty. It was a bit of an accidental thing, really. He was just really busy in his own world, and then unfortunately, he decided to adopt a kitten that he bonded with really closely. And then he basically gave the kitten all the attention, which did not make Monty feel very good. So when I was living with him, I bonded really closely with Monty. Monty, in turn, because he wasn't getting enough attention, and was living with like 3 other cats, which was stressful. He just started like peeing everywhere, marking. It got to be a huge problem. So the family was like, we gotta get rid of him. And because I had interest in Monty and I'm very good with my cats, they decided to give him to me. And the funny thing about this is that my most recent ex gave me Dingus. So now Waba is back.
Oh, you can't hear me. Hello.
Hello.
Untitled Lurker, just to vibe the big old Discords. Be nice if there's a role for lurky jerky people are active, but they just don't talk. I could actually set that role up, honestly. I'd have to get me 6 premium to set up more than just like, because there's a board gamers role, but we never use it. So I could just repurpose that role. I could delete it and then repurpose my 1 free role that Me6 gives me and make it and just like at everyone and just be like, listen, you got a week to like react to this.
Yeah.
To be a lurky. To be a lurky jerky.
Lurky jerky, I like that idea.
And just like, cause like I just be like, listen, I want to like call the Discord because I feel like it's not very active, and that's fine. But like, if you're not gonna use it, if you're not gonna lurk, if you're not gonna like ever look at this Discord, you know, you can just leave. Like we'll just call you. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Just leave.
Yeah, just leave.
It's free.
It's free. Just leave. That's okay. Like I feel like maybe that's a bad look to be like, please leave. But like,
Nah.
if people don't use it, if they don't care about the community at all, you know, then that's fine. They can go. I'm not holding them. Orange PP. I don't know. Some you can help me word it later. Type up something.
Me.
I'm always posting. Yes. Discord got bloated when there's too many people in it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just checking all the random falls I had. Hello, life is cringe. How are you doing, bud? Welcome in. Oh yeah, I banned you, and then I unbanned you because we were in a moment when we had a lot of trolls in the chat. I actually remember you because I can see all our messages. So hey, welcome in, bud.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Hope you're well. Hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Cat brushing session stream ASMR, yes. Judge Leader, do you think people were exhausted? I know that you love Joseph Hills. That scared you? What scared you? That's good. It was just
my mic went off, and I plugged it back in, and I was like, oh.
Ouch. It's not a bad move to ask people to leave, especially when you want to keep Discord safe for the people on the server. Yeah. Yeah. It's literally just gonna be like I'm gonna do it in probably like the roles chat and just be like, hey, at everyone, you have a week to react to this role. If you still want to stay and you just want to be a lurker in the Discord. Otherwise, I'm gonna start calling folks that, you know, don't show interest, I guess. We're gonna word it really well. Someone's gonna help me with wording, because I can't words. But something to that effect, something with that energy of just like, I try to keep this a safe space, on a tight ship. So I actually don't mind having less Discord members if it means the Discord's more active, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm back.
Welcome back. I was telling everybody how I came to have Monty and Dingus, and was about to say that my new joke is that you shouldn't date me if you have cats, because I will take one. That has proven to happen with my 2 relationships.
I'm very happy that I'm in a very happily committed relationship.
Yep.
And I don't want to date you because I like my cats. I don't want you to take my cats.
In that situation, I would probably take Sky. Now you know.
You want Sky? Take him. Fine. You want that needy bitch? He will shout. He will pick fights.
That's okay.
Discord
only because I'm at capacity with cats.
You're right. You're right, Ribbon. But in my heart of hearts, I feel like the Discord could potentially become more active.
Yes.
If people know that I've removed a lot of people that were not really part of the safe space, you know? Not really all for everything, you know?
I find a lot of people get intimidated by big numbers.
I know
sometimes. So I think it will help.
Yeah. Anyway, hi. We were talking on grief stuff. So where are we at?
Well, I don't know. I guess we can go basically anywhere from here. I think.
Yeah.
I guess like it might be productive to go over, I guess, like a grief in a more general way, just kind of like talking about how non-linear it is.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the most complicated things about any type of grief, and this applies to, you know, non-death related grief, like grief around relationships, is that people have this feeling, this pressure that they need to get over it in a certain time frame, and it just does not work like that. I mean, there is something to be said about stagnating, but that doesn't really go hand in hand with taking a long time to process and grieve something properly. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, and especially for like sudden losses like suicide, the grief can hit you so randomly down the line. You'll be like vibing one day and you'll happen to see something that might remind you of somebody, and then suddenly it feels like your heart breaks in that moment, and you're like, whoa. Hello grief, old friend, old pal, haven't seen you in a bit, what's up? And like, that's okay, honestly. It's like nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah. No, it's not shame. It's not something to be ashamed of. But I think a lot of people put a lot of shame on their grief because they either feel like, you know, they're overreacting, or it's just like, oh my God, why am I so broken about the loss of this person or this or whatever, you know, like it's not like I knew them or whatever. But you know, it doesn't matter whose it's loss. Loss is a loss, you know. And there's a lot of different types of loss, more than just death.
Oh yeah.
Like I gave the title of this whole month, you know, also transitions. I put that in there.
Right.
But we haven't talked about it a lot. But you know, when you transition from one environment to another, there is a loss happening. We just don't really register it until it kind of like, you know, like the reason of like, oh, it hit me, like it finally hit me that like I'm in this place now, you know? Like, I graduated college, you know, it didn't hit me for quite a while.
Oh yes.
You know,
Transitions.
transitions, yeah. And where there's some like amount of joy and just like, yeah, I'm, you know, finally out of that place. There is that loss, you know. When I left home, I tried to do it without many regrets, you know, just kind of like I had the clothes that I had, you know, I packed everything up and I went off to college in Albany. And then, you know, making the decision to just move in with Frankie was just so good for so many reasons. Huh? Huh? I'm telling a story. Your name came up because I said the decision to move in with Frankie.
Hi, Frankie.
Was yeah. Hi, Frankie. But yeah, just moving into an apartment together, that was definitely different and a new experience, you know. And I lost the comfort of like living with roommates. Well, not really. Like we were living with different roommates that were awful. But,
Yeah.
and we've still like continued to be almost exclusively have been in situations where like we ended up not living alone, and we really just need to fucking find a place by ourselves and live alone. Like,
Yeah.
Live alone, have less stuff, or have
Sometimes
more at least.
I feel like that was a bit of a factor in my last relationship because I have housemates and the walls are very thin. Not that they did anything, but I think my ex and myself to an extent as well, because I wasn't in a healthy mindset, got a little too concerned about what our housemates thought. Not that, you know, how they felt about us isn't important. Obviously, how they feel is valid.
Right.
And if they have a problem with us, it should be talked about. But there's only to a certain extent where you can mold yourself around other people, you know? And I think we were both kind of taking it a little unhealthy sometimes, and other times not being considerate enough. It was a very weird, not functional balancing act.
I understand that feel, though. Because, like, there's, like, that anxiety of, like, oh, God, what would they think if they, like, heard us, like, saying this, or if they heard us fucking or something like that, you know? But then there's, like, at the same time, it's like, no, I don't care. Fuck them. Like, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Back and forth. It's so odd.
Yeah. So, but yes, I can definitely relate to the having roommates and navigating that feel as a couple and as someone who's single. Both.
What do you think is the best thing, or did anyone ever like try to comfort you when you were grieving?
Yeah, of course. I think it's hard to really remember after my dad died because obviously a lot was happening that was not healthy.
Right. I was gonna the follow-ups to these was gonna be something to the effect of like what helped, what didn't help, you know.
Just throughout my various grieving processes, just people being able to be there, just kind of present in some way, being able to listen to whatever extent that they could about how I was feeling. This past breakup that I went through, actually, and it's sinking in now, wasn't. It's in of itself was not healthy, but I think it's one of the healthiest overall grieving processes I've been through because I was able to reach out and recreate, reconnect, have a support network, have friends like you in my corner, and that alone makes a world of difference. A lot of the things that didn't help mostly during grieving processes were mostly things that I would do. Kind of like self-sabotage, isolation, being out of therapy as well for my last major transitions and losses was very detrimental. Having therapy now. Monty, no! He's pawing at the screen. No, he paused.
Saw that.
Monty.
Hi, Teddy. Welcome in.
Oh, you kicked Dingus.
Big baby.
Oh, Dingus. That probably looked really uncomfortable on stream, but I don't know, because he paused it.
No, it's fine. Was that a cat? Yeah, that was Monty.
That was Monty the Menace. I actually have 2 cats here. One is in my lap. I mean, he kicked the one in my lap, but Dingus doesn't care. Also, hi Teddy. Welcome in.
Hi,
Teddy. So yes. So self-isolation, bad. Not having
self-isolation, bad. No therapist, bad. Wild.
Friendship, good.
Friendship, good. Yeah. Short version.
This is short version.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard like 4 or 5 stories this month, pretty much, is how it's gone. Fortunately or unfortunately or weirdly, coincidentally, we're talking about grief, death, transitions, all that kind of stuff, loss. Coincidentally, all of the stories we're talking about the loss of people's fathers or father figures in their life.
Man, dads really be dying.
Yeah, dads really be dying, so cut that out. If you're a dad, don't die.
Don't die.
Not
Jeff,
allowed.
I swear to God.
Jeff, if you die, I'm banning you. All right? So don't fucking die.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't you do it. But yeah, it's just fucking, it's wild. It's wild to me, wildly coincidental. But like, definitely the feelings are shared. You know, a lot of, I'm trying to like be reflective on the past, last 3 talks. And a lot of it was about like feeling isolated, feeling disconnected, not only from the world, but from the other people that were grieving around them. Like, for instance, let me ask you this. Was there like a funeral for your dad?
No.
Really?
He did not want a funeral. And that was actually, now that you bring it up, that and my grandmother's death, that was a major factor in the interruption of my grieving process. Because my grandma did have a funeral. My blood-related aunt, who I swear to God is... No, I can't say that she's as evil as my uncle. My uncle's a very special brand of evil, but...
He is true.
She is pretty bad. So my paternal background is Jewish. Right. And I believe it's in Jewish culture you have to be buried within a week of death.
Basically as soon as possible, as soon as realistically possible. I don't know if it's a week exactly, but yeah.
She did not honor my grandmother's wishes in that regard, despite being Jewish.
Is this something like she got what happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, I like to think that she was bogged down with bureaucratic red tape because that can happen. But she was able to manipulate my grandma into signing over all of my and my dad's inheritance to her, so God knows.
What the fuck?
And she didn't tell us about the funeral until it happened already.
That's incredibly fucked and manipulative.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's on my bucket list at this point, but it's gonna take a while before I get to enough autonomy to do this. But
what, to try to get the inheritance back?
No. That's long gone. My grandma passed away in 2010.
Right. What was on your bucket list then? Sorry.
Just visiting her grave.
Oh.
I haven't seen it.
Where is it?
It's in Queens somewhere. So. Yeah, and then.
Okay.
So my dad didn't have a funeral. He was cremated, and basically what wound up happening is he was cremated, and after a while, his ashes showed up in a bag, in a box.
Your dad's ashes?
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it was really. I still have the funeral home bag, I think, lying around here somewhere.
It sounds extremely sus. I feel like they like took his body for science or something, and then they sent him some random ashes.
I wouldn't care if they took his body for science. He was a scientist. He just didn't want to saddle us with the cost of like a burial and a plot and a funeral, which I can understand, but him leaving behind basically no papers kind of screwed everything up.
Yeah.
And not having any kind of service was also really hard. But yeah, I can't. Oh God, it's so bizarre to have my not blood aunt, the good one, come in one day and she's like, I forget what she said, but she passes the bag to me and I was like, what's this? And I look inside and it's just a plain looking wooden box. And she's like, it's your dad. And I'm like, oof. Oh. But like, how else are you going to do that?
Right.
Like, it's one of those things where there's really nothing you can do to present it to make it better. I think she is in possession of the ashes right now, which is a relief because I was really worried that my uncle took them for a while. Thank God he didn't. But yeah. So yeah,
I'm glad I didn't. Your uncle is awful.
God, he's a. I can go on for ages about that.
By the way, real quick, just aside from for chat's sake, you know, Teddy, we were talking before as well about like the grieving process, and honestly, it's completely different and unique for everyone. You know, and I don't think there really is, like, while it might be weird to some folks to, you know, hear how you grieve, there's nothing necessarily wrong about it. You know, everyone, you know, grieves in a different way, and that's okay. So you're valid. Hello, also, Zenicola, I guess. Welcome into the Waba fam. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the Mental Health Talk Play Square Safe Space. You wanted me of an uwu or an oo? Choose one.
Choose one. It's a meet or greet.
Yeah. You get one.
You get one.
I'll do it in a very cute voice, I assure you.
My
Okay, I got you.
You're
welcome.
You got a bonus.
Yeah, you got a bonus for our guest.
It's completely tangential, but one of my, I'm a system for people who don't know, and I have an interject who put basically counterpart, what do you say, doubles get one free or something like that. Just one.
What does that
just
mean?
One. Just one. They get one free.
Doubles?
Doubles are like, or counterparts are basically the same. Like, let's say for instance, I have an interject of Steven from Steven Universe.
What is interject, by the way?
Oh, yes. Interject is a headmate or alter that is based on an external source.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it could be fictional,
could be
or factual.
Factual. Okay, understood.
So, interject is just a really nice umbrella term.
Okay, I like it.
So,
by the way, this is DID system stuff. Half my chat is systems at any given point in time.
It reminded me of that because it was like you only get one.
Right.
Get one free, just one. Anyways.
Back to the topic at hand. So yeah, so you got this box of ashes and there was no funeral. So did anyone ever like from the family or like anyone that knew your dad try to contact you? And like
yeah. Mostly business partners and stuff. I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really, like, even today, and I feel really bad. There are people like my first ever therapist. I do in theory want to keep in touch with her, but every time I see like text messages for checking in, just, you know, kind of triggers me, to be honest. because there's just such a strong association with that whole relationship and that whole situation. And it's something that I still need to figure out and tussle out. It's another reason why I don't feel very close with my good aunt. It's just that the association in my mind is so strong, it feels like it's dangerous to be close. So,
I mean, it
figuring
sounds like
that
it's
out.
triggering, so it kind of is dangerous to be close because it would just serve to trigger more, right?
Even though the danger in that situation has long been removed. Technically, it had been removed before he even died. Although, the death in of itself is a trauma, but
that's CPTSD, baby.
Yeah, that's the thing about CPTSD. There's so many complicated layers. It's like it's complicated. It's almost like it's complex.
Yeah, one might say.
One might say.
Absolutely. Oh man.
Although,
yes.
If you don't have any more specific questions,
I don't.
Bring up
I have run out of specific questions, and I feel bad.
Don't feel bad. If I may, I kind of want to talk about transitions from a system standpoint. I guess.
Yeah, let's go.
So, I have dissociative disorder, not otherwise specified, 1B, or not otherwise not otherwise specified dissociative disorder. A lot of systems like to go with DSM-4 because the distinctions are a little clearer. But the DSM-5, it would be DDNOS. No, NOSDD. Other way around. Anyways. So...
Hold on.
Teddy's...
Large comment, yeah. We're dealing with grief is in 3 parts. Shit. By the way, Teddy, this goes up on YouTube. I hope that's okay. But the check-in portion before that does not go on YouTube. I delete VOD. My dealing with grief is in 3 parts. The first is that I give myself 24 hours to cry, let myself feel sad, emotional, angry. I let myself feel sad, emotional, angry, and throw a tantrum and think about what ifs, and basically do everything I can to feel that loss. That ends in 24 hours. After that, for 24 hours, I do my best to not think about them at all, distract myself. Part 3 is another 24-hour marathon of thinking of positive things about them, remembering good things about them, generally do stuff they liked. This part sometimes they have to be next to each other, but it works for me, and that's fine.
Interesting.
I like that, actually. I like it and hate it.
Yeah.
I'll explain. So I like it because you are allowing yourself to like feel those feels, feel those emotions, and like, but you're also giving yourself time to just like not think about it, just is also healthy. And you're also giving yourself time to like think in a positive way of like, remember the good things and do stuff that they liked and try to remember them that way. And if it works for you, fucking awesome. That's great. The reason that I said I love it but I also hate it is because I'm just like concerned about like, are you speed running grief process? Because grief is like, it just happens throughout your life, really, and you can continue grieving someone for a long time. But if it works for you, I'm not going to tell you to stop, especially if it works for you,
Yeah, I was worried about the speedrunning thing as well, but I think Teddy said those parts don't necessarily have to be next to each other, which I think is key, maybe?
If I don't do it this way, I get stuck in part 1.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like there's room for rumination, but it seems like a process is focused primarily on catharsis, maybe? I don't know if that seems correct, Teddy.
I get it. No, I think I get it.
Yeah.
And they can be months apart as well. So that's another thing.
Yeah. There we go.
That makes more sense. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were just like, this is a 72-hour marathon after someone dies.
Yeah.
No. It's much more spaced out. Okay. Yeah. I get that. I also get it from like a routine, autistic routine kind of standard. Of just like, yeah, this is how I got to do it. This is how I process. my emotions, and I fucking love that for you.
Yeah, I might keep that in the back of my head. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's cool actually. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing it. Really.
It might, might help somebody. Genuinely, like I said, I'm gonna keep it in the back of my mind because, like, I know for me, catharsis can play a huge role. I tend to go through multiple instances of it, but, like, for example, towards the beginning of my breakup process for this relationship,
yeah,
I found myself watching the last 2 episodes of a series called Bojack Horseman.
Oh no. Oh jeez, yeah.
This is good for me.
Yeah.
Bojack Horseman, I consider it to be one of the most accurate and raw representations of complex post-traumatic stress syndrome and how that can manifest in multiple ways, but particularly in a toxic way. How the cycle of abuse functions and what that actually looks like from an abuser's perspective. Yeah, and so I sat down, I watched those final 2 episodes, which I won't spoil anything, but they center very heavily on loss.
Yeah.
First one is more grief, I would say, and more permanent loss. Second one is more of transitional loss, which makes them fit in the topic.
I feel like the whole series really deals with transitional loss.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't know, short summary, BoJack Horseman is like an animated adult cartoon about this horse that is like a child actor type. Or he's not a child actor, but like
no, he's not.
Years ago he was like a main character in like this very family oriented role on television. He was very successful. But now he's like much older, pretty washed up. Yeah, sitcom is probably accurate.
It was a sitcom.
I think it's
back in the 90s.
Yeah, but he's very washed up, very drunk and drug substance user as well, and abuser, and just generally like his life is a fucking wreck. And I feel it sometimes. It's like you're supposed to like laugh at him, but then other times it's just like it gets really real, and it's like, no, actually you should probably feel a little bit bad for him, because like he lost a lot, and he's still like dealing with the transition of like not being that actor anymore.
Oh, Princess Carolyn. Jeffrey's mentioning. Oh, yes. Princess Carolyn, she's great. Yeah, no, BoJack, it deals with a lot, and the reason why I say it's one of the most accurate representations of complex post-traumatic stress syndrome is that throughout the series, without getting into too much detail, we get to see, at first particularly from his mother, but then also flashbacking back to his father, how bad his childhood was, how he was raised in this horrible abusive environment, how irresponsible his parents were, and then continuing through flashbacks, we see how in turn he was a very irresponsible adult to the children on the name of the show is Horsing Around, and how that impacted their lives growing up. And all these complicated relationships and the toxicity that comes from BoJack, because for a good chunk of the series, he just refused to work on himself.
Yep. And
a lot of the series is just dealing with, yes, transitional loss, and that like relationships in his life kept coming and going because of the toxicity, and just him overall finding a way how to deal with the fact that he's a toxic, abusive person. Yeah. Okay. What does he do now?
Yeah, where do I go from here? Is there a salvation for me? Is there a redemption? You know, because like for a while he really like embraced his complete assholeness, and he's like, yeah, that's who I am.
Yep.
I'm a complete asshole. Fuck you.
Yep. And then...
But then he starts coming around.
Yep, because people very close to him kept getting driven away.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, I don't like this.
He's like, wait a minute.
I don't actually want people to be driven away from me.
Actually, I don't want to be all alone.
I like people.
Yeah, it's so good. I wish I had internalized a little bit more of the lessons watching it, but yeah, basically I plan on rewatching the series at some point. I also highly recommend Tuca and Birdie, which is like a sibling series. Not the same creator, but the art director who did Bojack Horseman is the primary creative brain behind that, and it's so good.
I'm pretty sure there are characters in Bojack Horseman, no?
Tuca and Birdie, it's the same general universe.
Yeah.
More birds than usual, but it stars a couple birds. Not a couple. A few birds.
Understandable.
Anyways, so getting back to the topic though. I do highly recommend it. If you can handle that kind of intensity, I do highly recommend it as a series. And I watched the final 2 episodes again because I needed to experience catharsis. And the way the series ends off is in a very bittersweet area. Again, no spoilers, but it does involve a certain level of transitional loss that feels really bad at first, but then when you sit and you think about it, there was really no other logical way for Bojack to move forward from that point, I feel like, where everybody, including him, gets a chance to be healthy. And, you know...
I have to admit, I never saw the finale, but I've seen, like, a lot of it.
Yeah, it's especially the second to last episode. Oh, whew.
Sure. I can believe it.
It is intense. It is a doozy.
I can believe it. Yeah. Nice. Love it. So you wanted to talk about some system stuff?
Yes. Segueing back into that, I actually have an interject of Bojack.
Nice.
And he's really great. Yes, so grief in systems can often look very different, but also somewhat the same as it does in singlets. Which singlet or singleton is basically non-systems. Because for many of us, you know, because we have these very separated, dissociated parts, a lot of them will have their own relationship to the relationship that was lost, their own feelings about it.
Yeah.
And each part might process the grief a little differently from all the other parts. The host or the main parts, whoever is fronting the most, whatever you want to call it, might feel like they've processed it, but they'll still have parts in the system that feel like they haven't, for example, or even vice versa. I have had mates who say they've processed and accepted that my ex was gonna leave even before my ex left. But they felt like they couldn't do anything to protect or prevent it from happening because the circumstances were just... they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I think it's very... the whole thing of like grief being non-linear and taking patience for yourself is so important, especially as a system, because inevitably you're going to have parts that are out of sync, so to speak, who are going to hold grief or hold trauma related to that relationship or hold something. Most likely you might even split as a direct result of the loss, depending on how traumatic and how much it impacted you. And that's okay too, you know? So I know I definitely had a split in direct relation to my last breakup, and that was interesting.
I don't know if this is something you've had experience with, but have you ever had, God, I forgot the term, but like a reformation or like a absorbing of one alter into another?
Oh, it can be, depending on how it goes, it can be a fusion or integration.
Yeah, I forgot the term. Thank you.
Integration is usually used when a part gets absorbed into like the host, the core, whatever you call it.
Right.
And then fusions when a headmate fuses with another headmate, like literally. really. I've had a lot of
that?
fusions, yes. Integrations, mostly what I find is that fragments, because I have a lot of background fragmentation, just little splits that aren't fully separated splits.
Right.
Because I'm stressed all the time. They tend to get reabsorbed or integrated very easy. As far as full alters go, I think I've only had one almost successful integration, which was a persecutor part. That held a lot of trauma from when I was being groomed. Unfortunately, his presence impacted my relationship and informed a lot of my toxic behavior. And integrating was basically the only way to really reconcile all of that, and put me in a position where I could do better as a person.
My follow-up to this was going to be, is there kind of a grieving process for that in the system when that happens?
There can be, yeah. There's one part that split directly from one of my other parts. Daniel is the source part. He split off a headmate named Joey. Joey was actually a persecutor, protector. He had a protective role, but he was very dysfunctional. He actually did a lot of harm in my relationship too, but something about him. He was just like, he was, it's hard to put. And like, this is where like headmates are really like other people.
It's hard to define, right, as well.
He was his own person. He had this like charisma
that's how the alters work, yeah.
Even though he was toxic, we miss him sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't miss his drinking. He was the only alter in the system to get us blackout drunk multiple times.
Jeez.
I don't miss other aspects of his behavior, but I miss him, and other people in the system do as well. But it's definitely for the best that he was fused back into Daniel. So yeah, a lot of systems you talk to that has had a lot of integrations and fusions of parts that played a significant role will say that they do miss them sometimes.
Yeah. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the obvious answer is like, yeah. But I just wanted to get that insight from someone who is a system.
Yes.
See how that plays out.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. Is what it is.
It is what it is. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk on? Questions, comments, concerns, chat?
Any questions? Chat.
Questions, comments, concerns, additions, subtractions, divisions, multiplications, exponentials, explosives.
Expletives?
Expletives.
Within reason.
Within reason, no hate speech. Hello, Sky. You were on my desk. You were very annoyed about something. And you demand.
Cats.
What you demand?
I gotta quickly feed my cats dinner.
Yeah, go feed.
I'll be right back.
Please. Happy hands. Happy hands. Sky is such a baby. Oh. Hello. I love you.
Alright. Cats have been fed. What's up, Jeffrey?
What's going on, mate? What's going on, mate?
What's going on? What's happening?
I'm trying to trim your claws, baby. Let me trim your claws. We wait for Jeffrey to type. We're just holding space here. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, if there's no more questions, we're gonna go transition.
Sounds Gucci.
Alright. Thanks for talking with us, alright?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Much love and all that.
Much love. Take care, Leo. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching Mental Health Monday. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give the video a like, put a comment down below, and share it with a friend. If you want to catch it live, feel free to follow us on Twitch. The link is in the description below. As always, mental health is an open and ongoing discussion, so feel free to say hello and then, you know, come talk with us about mental health. I love the topic, always talk about it. It's a chill atmosphere, it's a safe space. Sometimes we get a little chaos and chaotic, but it's still a safe space all the same. If you also enjoyed the guests and what they had to say, you can check out their content as well. I put their Twitch links in the description below. As for the rest of my socials, they're also down there. Twitter, Instagram, and the Discord if you want to join. As always, take care of yourself, do some self-care today, and be well. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.